everyone. Myself, Manju Sharma from Suresh Gandhi University, Jagatpura, Jaipur. Department is School of Agriculture. Today we are going to discuss about diseases of papaya. Diseases of papaya. First is the foot rot, stem rot, which goes by the Phytium affinitermatum. The symptoms are water shock patches develop on the stem at the ground level. Patches enlarge and diseased tissues turn brown and rot. Because of rotting, the basal portion of stem is greater, affecting the upward flow of water and nutrients and weakening the plant. Internal tissues of internal tissue internal water shocked patches develop on the stem at the ground level. Patches enlarge Patches enlarge and diseased tissues turn brown and rot. Because of rotting, the basal portion of stem is griddled, affecting the upward flow of water. Flow of water and nutrients and weakening the plant. Internal tissues of bark appear dry and give honeycomb appearance. Internal tissues of bark appear dry and give honeycomb appearance. Infection is spread to roots and causes Infection spreads to roots and causes decay. Then the terminal leaves turn yellow, whiter, and droop. Fruits shrivel and drop off. Then the entire plant topples over and dies. So these are the symptoms of fruit rot, stem rot of papaya. Pathogen Mycelium is septate, brown, and much branched. Much branched. The sclerotia are black, spherical to irregular shape, and produced in abundance. Survival and spread. Primary survival. The oospores and saprophytic mycelium in soil and infected seedling transplanted in main field. Then secondary, the zoospore through irrigation water, favorable conditions. Appears from June to August. Younger seedlings are more susceptible than older ones. Severity increases with intensity of rainfall, then high soil moisture. Management. Seedlings should be raised in well-drained nursery area or in courtyards in modern nurseries in protected poly houses. Then uproot the diseased seedlings and burn. Drench the base of stem with 0.25% or metal exile plus mancozeb 0.1% or Bodex mixture 1%. Then the Mosaic disease of papaya. The causal organism is papaya mosaic virus. In economic importance in India, first reported from Mumbai and Pune and occurs more in central India. 90 to 100% damage occurs in severe cases. Virus is a potty virus with long, flaccid, rod-shaped particles having single-stranded RNA as genome. The symptoms are like mottling and puckering of leaves, especially the young ones. Then, water shocked, chlorotic, spores on tender stem, and petioles. The lamina is reduced and malformed are often modified into tendril-like structure, giving a shoe-stirring appearance. Then decline and marked reduction in growth of diseased plants. Then the older leaves fall down and a small tuft of younger leaves is left at the top in upright position. Fruits develop innumerable circular water-shocked spores with concentric rings. The fruit size is severely reduced with deformed shape. Basically, these are the symptoms of the papaya mosaic disease. the leaves which will be like the midrib of the leaves which will be yellow in color, and the symptoms are also appear on the fruit. Now pathogen. The virus particle are rod shaped and thermal. Inactivation point of the virus lies between 54 and 60 degrees centigrade. Survival and spread, like primary virus particles on affected plants. Then secondary is the aphids, mainly Mycelium persicii, and other species like Apis malvae. Apis malvae, Apis gossypi, and Amadic and Medicagenes, that is Rahoplasma Medes, then Microchiphum solonifoli. Then the other host, Cucumis stevus, Cucurbita pipo, Cucurbita maxima, Citrulus vulgaris, Lufa acutangula, then Lagenaria, Cephalar, and some ornamental plants. Then their management. Disease-free seedlings raised in modern insect-free net houses or poly houses, rogging and destruction of diseased plants, then raising barrier crops like sorghum on the boundaries of the field, the vector control with systemic insecticides like dimethoate or methyl dimetone. Carica qualiflora is resistant variety for the disease, growing transgenic like coat protein mediated papaya, varieties like sunup and rainbow. Then leaf curl disease of papaya, which causes by tobacco leaf curl virus or Nicotiana virus 10. Virus is Gemini virus with geminate spherical particles having single stranded DNA as genome. Then the symptoms are like severe curling, crinkling, and distortion of leaves, accompanied by vein clearing and reduction of leaf lamina. Leaf margins are rolled downward and inward in the form of inverted cup. Then the curled leaves have thickened veins, so the leaves become leathery, brittle, and petiole are twisted. Diseased plant fail to flower or bear any fruits. In advanced stage, defoliation takes place and growth is arrested. So basically these are the symptoms of papaya leaf curl. So the size of the leaves, which is small in size as compared to healthy plants, and basically they will be wrinkled. Now, survival and spread. Primary survival, like virus particle on affected plants. Then the secondary is the white fly, that is Bemisia tapici. Virus also infects tobacco, tomato, sunham, chili, petunia, genia, datura, stramonium, hollyhock, and Cape gooseberry, etc. Then their management. Disease-free seedlings, rogging and destruction of diseased plant and other host species, erecting yellow sticky trap for white fly trapping, then the vector control with monocrotopos at 1.6 ml per liter or dimethoate or metacystox at 2 ml per liter. Next is the papaya ring spot virus. The earliest symptoms on papaya are a yellowing and wheel clearing of the young leaves. This is followed by a very conspicuous yellow mottling of the leaves and sometimes severe blistering and leaf distortion. Dark green streaks and rings also appear in the leaf stalks and stems. So the disease derives its name from the streaking symptoms that develop on fruit. These consist of concentric rings and spots on C-shaped marking, a darker green than the background green fruit color. Symptoms persist on the ripe fruit as darker orange-brown orange-brown rings, vigor of trees. The earlier symptoms of papaya are a yellowing and vein clearing of the young leaves, because that is the papaya ring spot virus. This is followed by a very conspicuous yellow mottling of the leaves and sometimes severe blistering and leaf distortion. Dark green streaks and rings also appear in the leaf stalks and stems. The disease derives This is followed by a very conspicuous yellow mottling of the leaves and sometimes severe blistering and leaf distortion. Then dark green streaks and rings also appear in the leaf stalks and stems. Then the disease derives its name from the streaking symptoms. that develop on fruit. These consist of concentric rings and spots on C-shaped marking, a darker green than the background green fruit color. The symptoms persist on the ripe fruit as darker orange, brown rings. Vigor of trees and fruit sets is usually reduced depending on the age of the plant when infected. Fruit quality, particularly flavor, is also adversely affected. Then the ring spots on mature fruit, and in another one, the ring spot on green fruit. So these are the symptoms of this disease, and the symptoms are like ring-shaped symptoms. Phyllozy. These viruses typically have long flaccous rod-shaped particles about 800 to 900 nanometer long and are transmitted by numerous species of aphids in a non-persistent manner. Papaya ring spot virus is grouped into two types like PRBP and PRBW. The former type infects both papaya and cucurbits, while the later type infects cucurbits but not papaya. In fact, PRBW causes major damage to cucurbits and was previously referred to as watermelon mosaic virus. Their spread. The virus is spread from plant to plant by any species of aphids in non-persistent manner. Many species of aphids are capable of transmitting the virus, and it takes only a few seconds of feeding time for an aphid to acquire the virus into its mouth parts. So it is then able to spread the virus. The papaya ring spot virus is not spread by any other insects, and it does not survive in soil or dead plant material. This virus can also be spread by the movement of infected papaya plants and cucurbit seedling. Once infected plants cannot be cured, once infected plants cannot be cured by spraying with pesticides or removing plant parts showing symptoms. Now, their management like non-chemical control. So efforts to control papaya ring spot in papaya have included logging. Efforts to control papaya ring spot in papaya Then, none of these methods individually provide ideal country of the disease. In most cases, the best control is achieved by using a In most cases, the best control is achieved by using a combination of these approaches. Now, quarantine measures. The most effective control is to prevent the quarantine measure. The most effective control is to prevent the introduction of PRSVP into the major growing area of papaya. Then the most important is to establish orchids. Then the most important is to establish orchards with seedlings that are not infected seedlings that are not infected with PRP. Then the secondly new orchards should be situated as far as feasible from infected orchards. It should not be established by interplanting seedling among trees that are infected with PRV. Additionally, diseases incidence can be reduced by planting a non-host crop such as corn around the orchards and even between rows. So, the rationales for this is that aphids flying into the papaya orchards would first that disease incidence can be reduced by planting a non-host crop such as corn around the orchards and even between rows. The rationales for this is that aphids flying into the papaya orchards would first land and feed on the alternate crop and lose their ability to transmit the virus to papaya due to the non-persistent mode of transmission. Aphids can be controlled by application of carbofuran, that is 1 kg per hectare, in the nursery bed at the time of showing seeds, followed by 2 to 3 foliar spray of phosphomidone and an interval of 10 days starting from 15 to 20 days showing. Next disease is the Anthracnose disease, which goes by Coleotrichum papaya. The symptoms are like all aerial parts. Anthracnose disease, which goes by Coleotrichum papaya. All aerial parts of the plants are attacked. Then the reddish brown circular to irregular necrotic spots, which later increases in size. The reddish brown circular to irregular necrotic spot, which later increase. Then the older parts are more susceptible. Then the spot on fruit appear as brown, superficial discoloration of the skin. The spores develop into circular, slightly succulent, and are 1 to 3 centimeter in. Then the lesions coleus and spores mycelial growth appears on the margins of the spores. Then early fruit infection results in mummification and deformation. Then fruit infection continues. Then the lesions will be coleus and spurs mycelial growth appears on the margins of the spore. Then the early fruit infection result in mummification and deformation. Fruit infection continuous in storage and then the fruit infection continuous in storage and the pulp beneath the lesions. So basically these are the symptoms of the papaya. Survival and spread, like primary survival, mycelium on infected plant debris in the field, incipient mycelia infection carried by fruits from the field. Secondary, then incipient mycelia infection carried by fruits from the field. And the secondary is conidia by wind and rain splash. Favorable condition like excessive moisture, older leaves and mature fruits are more susceptible. Management. Field sanitation by removal and destruction. Management, field sanitation by removal and destruction of infected plant debris, foliar spray twice with carbendazim 0.1% at 15 days interval, chlorothalonil 0.2% at 10 to 15 days interval, then last spray to be given 10 days before harvest, then avoid injuries at harvest, transport and storage. Then avoid injuries at harvest, transport and storage fumigation on the ground level, on the groundnut oil control, post harvest sports are roads. Now, the diseases of sapota. Flat limb, which goes by Botryodiploidia theobreni, first reported in Gujarat and now prevalent in all sapota growing areas of the country. So the disease is a problem in orchards above 10-year age. Symptoms are branches of affected trees become flat and twisted at the tree terminus. Leaves become thin, small, and yellow and are reduced in cluster on the affected branches. Then, very few flowers are produced on affected branches, which will remain infertile. So, fruit set is rare, and when set fruit are undersized, hard, and fall to ripen, and foliage and fruits fall prematurely. Survival and spread of the pathogen. Primary survival, a conidia on infected plants. Secondary, wind-borne conidia. Then their management, pruning of affected branches, which followed by copper oxychloride or Captain Olginap 0.3% spray. Then the leaf sport, which goes by Phaeophylliospora indica, which goes by the Pastelotyposis versicolor. The disease symptoms are like Phaeophylliospora indica, earlier circular spores which pinkish them gradually to brownish in color, and the center of the spore sometimes whitish gray color, and number of spores are more on leaves. Then the next is the Pastelotypsis versicolor. So earlier circular spot with pinkish dam, then gradually to brownish in color, and the center of the spot sometimes whitish gray color, and number of spots are more on leaves. Then Pasteloteopsis versicolor. Spores are circular and brownish and bigger. Later stages can see the black dots. Later stages can see the black dots on center of the spore. These black dots are the asexual fruiting body on the fungus. Later stages can see the black dots on the center of the spore. These black dots are asexual fruiting body of the fungus that is acerulae. In advanced stages leads to defoliation. Numerous small circular pinkish to reddish brown. Numerous small circular pinkish to reddish brown conspicuous spots, columns and leaves drop prematurely. Survival and spread. The pathogen is seed-borne fungus. The pathogen is seed-borne fungus and the inoculum present in the seeds are source of the pathogen is seed-borne fungus and inoculum present in the seeds are source of primary infection. Then the fungus also survive on blooms, fruit and plant debris. Then fungus also survive on blooms, fruits and plant debris. Then the favorable conditions, rainy season favor the development of disease. Now management. Management carbendazim 0.1% and companion that is combined product which includes carbendazim and mancozeb 12% and 72% to avoid resistant development in pathogen. Sooty mold disease, Capnodium versicolor. The disease symptom, it is a fungal disease developed on honeydew like excretion secreted by aphids and scale insects. Disease severity increase in increased population of leafhoppers, aphids, and other insects, black superficial growth, and entire surface of leaves, fruits, and twigs. Fungus is not a parasite, it grows on the excreta and honey secretion of insects. The fungus slowly cover the entire leaf area, severely affecting disease severity increases population of leafhoppers, aphids and other insects. The fungus slowly cover the entire leaf area, severely affecting the process of polysheets. Sorry, photosynthesis. Under dry spell, such affected leaves curl and shrivel. Under dry spell, such affected leaf curl and shrivel. During flowering time, the appearance on the disease results in reduced fruit set. Sooty mass is a superficial growth of the fungus and it multiplies on insect secretion. This results in reduced translocation of food to the fruits, which leads to reduction in their size. An impact of these disease on host is photosynthesis activity and yield the decreases. So basically these are the symptoms of the disease. Survival and spread. The severity of infection depends on the honeydew secretion by the scale insects that provide the necessary medium for the fungal growth. Transmission occurs by the airborne disease. The favorable conditions are like high humidity and moist situation favors the development of disease.